Today on the topic show, the Supreme Court strikes down the Chevron Doctrine, a big win for the Constitution. Rivian's plan to get to profitability after Volkswagen invests $5 billion. Nike stock, well, it drops after the 2025 outlook decreases. York Rockefeller Pride display sparks controversy. Tractor Supply backtracks and DEI and Pride parades after a boycott. Biden tweets that he will restore Roe vs. Wade in one of his most viral tweets of the year. And, well, 67 ice cream, well, those flavors are being recalled due to possible contamination. All of that and much, much more on The Topping Show. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of The Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency in IT security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice a day. I say he's quite handsome and brilliant. He's me, you see, that's the joke. If you're an IT leader or a business owner, you can reach out to the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you could click that button and tell your friends, I would greatly appreciate it. Now, going over to the business part of the podcast, you have Rivian plan for profitability after Volkswagen's $5 billion investment, which is quite a large investment to say the least. I can't but wonder why. Now, this is brought to us thanks to autonews.com. You can see some of those iconic Rivian trucks with the funny looking headlights, which look pretty interesting as long as you don't care about the vehicle not being able to hit, 100,000 miles or last more than 10 years. But again, there is a market for it, and a lot of people like it. Very few people are buying it. Before we dive into the, actual news about how they're going to try to turn it around, let's look at their stock. Yeah, Rivian, they're not looking so great. So their Rivian stock is down 83.37% since the IPO. Yes, trading for $13.41 per share. Now, the past year, 1 year, down only, quote unquote, only 8%. Year to date, though, it's down 36.47%. Now, the past month, it skyrocketed by 28.55%. Then last week, it went up by almost 50% after the news of this. It went up by 43.9%, which, again, is good for the couple of people who bought that stock when it was on the low. Like Wise Man once said, buy low, sell high. Now, that being said, also, the market cap is only $13.2 billion, so still one of the smallest automotive companies. Now, the issue with Rivian is they've never made a profit, which they're not very unique. Most EV companies don't make profit for years. That's what made Tesla so unique in that regard. They actually did attain profitability, seemingly the impossible. I mean, last quarter, Ford lost, I forget if it was $131,000 or $136,000 per EV sold. That division is bleeding money. They're only able to do it because the gas engines offset those massive losses. So, good news on Ford that they keep making the money stuff, as well as they invest in the EV technologies, which might someday make profit. Now, Rivian, they lost $39,000 per vehicle in the first quarter. Now, they note they're going to plan to use this $5 billion investment with the Volkswagen Group to scale its business to new models, and it will put them in more path to profitability, which maybe that'll help out a little bit, but it's also one of those things where they already said they're going to revamp the model, so they got some nice facelifts. Now they're going to create yet another model. Maybe they'll go into the sedan market. That being said, the sedan market on average is leading, to say the least. Is one of the reasons why Ford really doesn't make any cars anymore, with the exception of the iconic pony car Mustang with a V8 and a stick shift, which all cars should be by default, of course. But I mean, cars really aren't that profitable for the most part. And consumer preference is very much SUV, crossover, and trucks. Also happens to be where most of the profit is when it comes to the automotive portfolio. So I'm not sure. And then again, Volkswagen, they announced they're going to invest billions into their own ICE engines. So it's almost as if they're outsourcing some of this. Because, of course, they're going to share some technologies. You've seen similar things when it comes to General Motors and Honda throughout the years. So they had similar partnerships. But with Rivian, they need this. Because, again, they're cash poor. And this year, they were in a really tough spot. Again, lost $39,000 per vehicle. And that being said, they're moving in the right direction. Again, not financial advice, but the loss per vehicle is decreasing. Or should I rather more articulately say the losses are not as bad as they used to be. I think it's $100,000 last fiscal year for most of the vehicles that were sold, or on a per unit basis. So I'm, again, not financial advice. I'm not sure what the stock's going to do tomorrow. It will be interesting to see if they're able to really make it and how much it really takes until they get to profitability. Also, to take this into account, the fastest growing segment for consumers in the United States, the automotive community, is hybrids. That's where a lot of consumers are spending their dollars. The EV adoption rate is decreasing. There are people buying these vehicles, but that rate of adoption is decreasing. Perhaps because they don't want to be stranded, or they don't want something that's going to be disposable, or they just don't like the idea of having one manufacturer that is allowed to work on the product, very similar to a smartphone. So let's just say I'm not optimistic when it comes to Rivian. Granted, I mean, especially the finance and business outlooks, I've been wrong before. So who knows? Perhaps they'll beat Tesla and be a huge multi-trillion-dollar valuation company someday. I mean, I'm not sure what the Las Vegas odds are for that, but I mean, let me know. It's interesting. I know a couple friends who bought the Cybertruck, which, again, if it had a stick shift and a diesel engine, I might buy. Just because, to me, it's amusing design. Is bullet resistant to a certain extent. But I don't know more than one person who has a Rivian. I have a couple friends who have Teslas, and I have seen a couple Rivians on the road, anecdotally speaking, in terms of my experience of seeing the product. But let me know in your circle of friends, are a lot of people buying the Rivians? Are they excited? Do you think it just takes a new model and they'll buy into the whole brand, the whole company? Let me know in the comments. As always, I'd be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting business news, you have Nike stock. Well, it drops like a rock after reducing their 2025 projection. It's not good to say the least. It's actually, yeah, it's pretty bad. I'll just go ahead and throw it on the screen here. The stock went down by 22.73% in a single day last Friday. Wow. That is terrible. Now, going to the 5-year trend, it's still up by 15.76% in the past 5 years. Past 1 year, though, they're down 33.32%. Again, it's currently trading for $75.37 per share. It doesn't look like there's a dividend yield, so disappointingly enough, not much incentive to keep it. My 3 cents. Again, not financial advice. It looks like their 1 year to date is down 11.6%. Next month, it's actually increased by 2.38%. But yeah, after that news, it crashed like a rock. So definitely not good news. Now, this comes with thanks to an article go over at Yahoo Finance, which, again, might be aging myself a little bit. They were the original OG search engine before Google came along and just destroyed the competition. So personally, I prefer Brave, but nevertheless, they say, specifically, it's the writer by the name of Josh Schaefer. He says, quote, Nike stock sinks after company projects larger sales decline than expected in 2025. I was going to say a couple of analytics up there while I read a couple of these stats over here. At least you got something better than just my ugly mug to look at on the screen. They say that, quote, Nike stock fell nearly 20% last Friday after the retailer said they expect revenue to decline more than it previously thought in the coming year. The company said it expects the revenue to fall mid-single digits in 2025, including an expected 10% decline in the first quarter. Nike had initially guided overall sales to grow in 2025. This is last Friday was the worst single-day decline in Nike's stock history. Wow. That is rough, to say the least. Wow. Now, they said, quote, the company said quarterly revenue in the fourth quarter fell 2% from the prior year to $12.61 billion, well below Wall Street's expectations for the $12.86 billion. Meanwhile, Nike's 99 cent earnings per share exceeded analyst expectations of 66 cents per share. Nike's direct-to-consumer sales declined 8% from the same quarter a year ago to $5.1 billion, which, again, that's where you just go to Nike.com or one of the direct stores and you buy from them, as opposed to the indirect business model where you go to someone like a Walmart or Shields and you buy a Nike product from them. Now, CEO of Nike, John Doe, says, quote, fiscal 2025 will be a transition year for our business, which is never what you want to hear. They say that, quote, while undergoing strategic change, recent performance has been riddled with quarterly misses and guidance cuts. Even worse. So, again, one of those things where this is the downside of selling a luxury product and then a fitness product in America, which, like statistically speaking, most Americans are obese and do not exercise. That is a huge cultural and health issue in the United States. And you don't need to buy Nike equipment if you're sitting at home working all day on the computer, or if you just don't like to work out. And again, it's a luxury product no one needs. Let's be honest. They make some interesting things. I mean, truth be told, I use the OG New Balance 990 series, the dad shoes, and made in America. And though I think I'm on my 17th or 18th pair by now since I started buying them. Let's just say they're darn near bulletproof in quality. because I've been second that model for years. But nevertheless, there's no fitness equipment you buy through Nike that you can't buy through generic Walmart brand. Some people say, oh, Nike's, maybe there's a brand prestige to buying a Nike. Maybe. And a lot of people buy Nike just because their favorite sports balls figure buys it as well. Yeah, that's definitely a thing. You also have a lot of competition. I mean, Under Armour had a new CEO come on about 12 months ago, turning the company around. The founder actually returned to the company. They're getting more aggressive in their sales tactics and making new products. You also have stuff like Lululemon. That's almost $500 per share, I believe. It is astronomical how much Lululemon has grown in the past couple of years. And again, that's another big competitor nipping at Nike's heels. Now, I mean, anecdotally speaking, I don't think if I know anyone who's bought Nike in the past like 5-10 years. Even the stuff was just like Nike branded like golf gear. What was it? I think the first couple of years I started my tech company, you got Nike branded polos for like work or corporate polos. I think that was the last Nike product I ever bought, truth be told. Now, granted, I'm definitely not their target demographic in terms of who they're trying to sell stuff to, but definitely not going to be a good year for Nike. Can't help but think maybe they try to invest in other markets. I mean, India is one of the fastest growing markets on the planet. Maybe they do something different this year. They also, they get involved in a lot of politics. There's a lot of reasons why I know some, friends boycott them. So definitely not good things for Nike. And it looks like, again, luxury products are the first thing to cut when it comes to the family budget or just our personal budgets, during hard times. So I'm not too surprised they're thinking, oh yeah, we'll probably have to decrease our sales a little bit more. But let me know, when's the last time you actually bought Nike apparel? And do you know anyone who goes out and just buys it willy-nilly? Let me know, as always, in the comments, because I'd be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the Culture Pride podcast, you have New York Rockefeller Pride display sparks a lot of controversy. This is brought to us thanks to End Wokeness on X Twitter, in which he says, quote, "All hail the new state religion." And the music is, of course, terrifying, but it's only 14 seconds long, so I play a second before I mute it. And again, I'm not sure who's in charge of marketing, but they have all the Pride stuff that's painted on the ground where people walk and will inherently get dirty. They have, how many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like 12. So you got 12 flagpoles and they're all Pride. A little redundant, some might say. This is the iconic New York Rockefeller Center. This was for the Pride weekend in New York City, and they say find your rainbow. Oh, I'm gonna mute that. And they have, what is this? Oculus Rainbow Lights, June 28th to June 30th, 4 p.m. to 12 a.m. Of course, they have a couple more flags. They have the Empire State Building Rainbow Lights, June 30th. They say Pride Rainbow March. What is this? June 30th, starting 11 a.m., Madison Square Park. A lot of balloons. And of course, they say Rockefeller Center Rainbow until end of June, which implies it should be gone by now in terms of they remove it. Again, another waste of money because, again, you put that on the ground. Interesting enough, there are people walking on this, which, again, if you did a burnout, you'd go to jail. They label you a felon. They send you to the gulag. And yet these people are walking on it on willy-nilly. I'm actually surprised these people aren't tiptoeing and like, jumping off in fear that they might be arrested. If they were to drag their heel on that pavement, they could be arrested for hate crime. Of course, if they did that on the American flag, that's totally okay. Then they have the iconic the statue. Yeah, how many is it? And again, I guess in this case, it's the Trans Pride. No, wait, which one is it? The Progress flag. Again, whoever is making the flags is making a killing. They change every single day, so it seems. Yeah, let's see. That's in this one clip alone. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. About 18 flagpoles, and they're all Pride. Although I don't know, might be a lack of continuity in terms of marketing. Those look like the original Pride flag without the extra triangle thrown in there. It went pretty viral. This is brought to us thanks to originally posted by Oil London. Got about 300,000 views, 5.1 thousand likes. The first comments coming from Planet Memes, which finally they get. I was gonna say they're 1 for 1 today, and yesterday they were 0 for 3 in terms of responding. They responded in text only, not memes. So at least they did respond in meme form today, and they have a picture of the icon. Well, if it's a biblical reference for those who aren't aware in the comments, but it's the golden calf. But instead of the golden calf, they actually plastered on the progress flag onto the golden calf, and it's all the people will, of course, they just so happen to all be cartoons of women. They're all praising the golden calf, getting 266 likes. It is fascinating in terms of culturally in the United States. You have one day for veterans, and you have a whole month for Pride. Well, actually, more than a whole month when you take into account all the different calendar dates for that. You could argue a couple days for veterans in terms of ones who have already passed, but I partially digress. Gunther Eagleman said, quote, "This is evil shit," getting 135 likes. Also, Zupa says, "And here we're supposed to believe the cult of gender ideology is oppressed," getting 17 likes. You have the meme from Jim in the office, and his first Fast 84 says, quote, "I'm sick of having this shoved down our throats. America is fed up." And it's Jim pointing at his whiteboard. I could partially emulate it. And it says, "The fact that the flag is flying over government buildings, embassies, and cultural institutions," then he goes, "suggests they're not oppressed. You're celebrated," getting 224 likes, which, yep. Nick Sorter says this is degenerate shit, getting 169 likes. This is the iconic. Yeah, of course, there's children in this video. Brendan says, 4 days left. Again, this was last week. 4 days left in Pride Month. Which this Pride flag, transferred Hide Yoke is. Forgot the U. And then they wait 20 seconds long, so we'll play this parade. Of course, it's a conspiracy theory if you say that, though. Of course, you have I was going to say, feminist with little pasties over her little tatas. Definitely not public attire that's appropriate. Although, interestingly enough, do I see a suit? Someone did suit up, so it's not complete just, naked people in a parade, which, yeah, that's obviously disgusting. So someone did actually suit up for the occasion. So that's, saying the quiet part out loud, getting 25 likes for that. Mike Vomit says, "But God forbid someone tries to hand out a pamphlet or a Bible." It's a picture or a cartoon of a gentleman he did suit up, but he was wearing a respectable, wearing a black t-shirt and khaki pants, or as some might call kahiki pants. And he's handing out Bibles, and you have a drag queen with a Pride little sign and a megaphone saying, "Stop pushing your beliefs on me." Got 80 likes for that. Let's see. Liberty Pill Meme says, "Make roads great again." This picture of one of the trucks doing a burnout on the Pride flag that's painted on the ground at the intersection says, "Make roads great again." Getting 89 likes. Let's see here. A lot of people are calling July Magamoth, apparently, though. A lot of people saying everything is gay. Joseph Jones says, "I hate this with the heat of billions of..." Wow, that's a pretty specific disdain. He says, quote, "I hate this with the heat of a billion burning suns. All it does is foment animosity towards gays and lesbians." Getting 60 likes, which I don't really think this gains public support for them. Again, I mean, a lot of people, including myself, just say, as long as there's no children involved, do whatever the hell you want in the bedroom. It's your business. That's how it used to be. And then you have, a day, then you have a week, now you have a month. If you look at the calendar, it's almost 3 months, I think, in terms of the specific days they celebrate it. Liberty Pill Meme says LGBT in 2024. And it's 2 quotes, says 2024, "We don't want to indoctrinate everyone, but we just want to be accepted and live our lives." And then it says, quote, "Submit to our ideology or face consequences." They have, the Subway painted in Pride, getting 52 likes. Again, a waste of tax dollars, to say the least. So pretty much everyone critiquing them. Let's see if there's any contrarian statements. Because again, there are a lot of people who say it's a good thing. I don't think it'll really, unless it makes people from San Francisco more, maybe they're more comfortable. I don't think it'll actually boost, I don't think it's going to increase the revenue from people visiting the city. I'm trying to think of any logical reason they might have done this in terms of, does this, they're going to increase the sales to the city in terms of people coming around to shop at local restaurants or go to the Rockefeller Center? Probably not. No, I can't really think, not even one iota. Could it perhaps repel some people? Maybe a little bit. It is, one of those things where the marketing behind it, again, I don't know. I need to do some research to see who manufactures these flags. Because again, the amount of flags being made in the past couple years, well, very few American flags, but all the other ones, you could probably buy a couple Ferraris, Bentleys, and maybe a whole state of, what's the little state? Probably could have bought Vermont or something with all the revenue from all the sales of these flags. And again, from New York, maybe the locals appreciate it. If you're in New York, let me know. Do you appreciate when they put all this all over the sidewalks, all over the flags, or do you just kind of want to do your work and get home and not have to see that? Let me know in the comments. As always, I'd be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting cultural news: you have Tractor Supply backtracking, and DEI and Pride parades. Will the boycott now? I was going to say a little bit of a speaking faux pas there. Again, if you take the time to subscribe, I would greatly appreciate it. I have a theory. When I first started the show, could barely articulate, spoke really fast, yes, quicker than even now, stumbled over my words a lot more. But as I've grown the show and I've gained more subscribers, I have slowly but surely increased my speaking acumen. Some might argue it's just a modicum of improvement. However, I think there's a kernel of truth with this theory. So if you click that button and help me become articulate in speaking, I would greatly appreciate it. Again, Tractor Supply backtracking on DEI and Pride parades. Now will the left try to boycott the company? Now, this is brought to us thanks to X Twitter, and specifically it's by Robbie Starbuck. And for those who have never heard of Tractor Supply, A+ for marketing in terms of the name, they supply things for farms. A little disappointing. I don't know if they sell full bore tractors. I know they sell gym mats, well, horse stall mats that people use for the home gyms. And they have darn near every accessory you need, from chicken coops to chicken feed to weed whackers and a lot of fun little quirky novelty things that you find at like an old-timey country store. Now, Robbie Starbuck says, quote, "Major victory. I've exposed the woke agenda, Tractor Supply corporate's office for 3 weeks. Now they responded. Here's their statement. 1. They will no longer sponsor pride parades. 2. Eliminating all DEI roles and retiring their DEI goals. 3. They will no longer submit data to the Human Rights Campaign for a corporate equity index score. 4. They will withdraw from the carbon emissions goals. 5. They promise to continue to listen to consumers and team members. 6. Refocus our team member engagement group on mentoring, network, and supporting the business." He says, continues saying, quote, "This is monumental change. It is all thanks to those who supported my work, exposing this to the whistleblowers at Tractor Supply and my fellow farm owners who respectively spoke up. I'm working to get more information about these changes, but this is a fantastic moment for the fight to banish wokeness, DEI, and ESG from the workspace. This is one of many dominoes to fall to bring back our economy where the customer is king once and woke politics and are eliminated from the workplace. Looking forward to your reactions and comments," unquote. And this got 1.8 million views as well as 48,000 likes. And here's a statement actually from Tractor Supply. And yeah, Tractor Supply, I want to say F- for marketing. But again, of all the companies to give into DEI, ESG, and pride parades, which again, for some businesses, it might make sense, especially those that are, again, headquartered in like San Francisco or New York City. That might be a good way to actually gather and increase your market share of that part of the market. Tractor Supply, on average, people who need this are more likely rural, more likely conservative, more likely Republican, really not of that same ideology. Now, one of the first comments he actually responded, Robbie said, quote, "Sitting down to film a video about this victory only happens because X exists. Those of you who subscribe to me to help fund my team and research our stories, those stories are shared by all of you, which builds up the pressure. You are responsible for this massive win," getting 3.9 thousand likes. One of the first comments comes from Garthur Eagleman saying, quote, "You're the man, Robbie. That's how it's done," getting 2.3 thousand likes. Cat Turd said, "This is a major victory for sanity," getting 2.9 thousand likes. And Wokeness says, "Phenomenal work," getting 1.7 thousand likes. Yeah, Paul Zupa saying, "Wow, great job, Robbie Starbuck. This is a huge win, a sign that we can make change if we shine the light. Well done," getting 295 likes. Which, yeah, can't but wonder what this do to the stock. Well, let's jump to that screen really quick. Past 5 years, they've been doing great. Past 1 year, they're up 24.36%. Year to date, they're up 23.55%. But the issue is the short term, where again, it was leaked that they had all these initiatives and they support all these causes, went down by 5.8% the past month. Last week, went down 4.98%. Last Friday, went up by about 0.91%. So recovered a little bit. Market cap of $29 billion. People don't realize how big that company is. Now, you also have Clown World saying, "Well done," getting 356 likes. Adriana Curry said, "Dude, look at what you did. Bud Light could take some notes on how to fix yourself after this. People have far more power than they thought," getting 655 likes, which, yeah, I think Tractor Supply just kind of looked at the data and said, what's the highest percentage category of consumers who patron our store? I was going to say no spoiler, but yeah, obviously it'd be the people who are more likely to be conservative. So again, I'm not sure who's in charge of this idea at Tractor Supply. And again, maybe they're trying to appeal to a new market, very similar to Bud Light, but it kind of backfired because again, conservatives immediately boycotted this company, and yeah, probably hurt their sales pretty bit. Yeah, Libs of TikTok, simply having the hand clap emoji, getting 688 likes. Jeff Carlson says, quote, "This is one of the most forthright corporate letters I've read. Effectively, our customers were right. We were wrong. We'll fix it now. The proper way to respond to a major deviation away from the customer base. Well done." Getting 3.7 thousand likes, which, yeah, 110%. Again, especially in this case where they actually fixed relatively quickly, or they addressed the elephant in the room, or the naked guy with the pride flag in the room. Yeah, you want to make sure you address these things quicker rather than later. That's why one of the reasons Bud Light, I don't think their sales will recover for years, is because they did nothing for about a year. And then they started to just buy out brand endorsements from famous people like the UFC. You have Shane Gillis. So they just did nothing for almost a year at Bud Light, which is the biggest business blunder in the century. They spent $185,000 for Dylan Mulvaney, and they lost $1.4 billion in sales. So again, no, it'll be hard to see. You'd be hard pressed to mess up in your life worse than Bud Light, or Alyssa Heiderschau, who is the marketing VP, who was in charge of that whole initiative. But remember, no matter how bad you mess up in life, still not as bad as Alyssa Heiderschau. Yeah, Western Lensman saying, quote, "Wow, this is incredible. Robbie, amazing work, amazing results. That's what's called making a difference." Getting 1,000 likes, which, again, this is very rare for companies to actually backtrack, especially when it comes to companies who backtrack against left-leaning policies. More often than not, these companies, overwhelming them politically and culturally, they lean left, and usually they never deviate back to the center or a little bit right. In this case, I'm actually surprised they actually came out and did this action. It's one of the very, very few publicly traded companies who have done it. You have Livercat Media TM saying, "This is amazing and phenomenal work, Robbie. The only way to win the fight." It says, big picture just says DEI must die, getting 430 likes. Steve Long said, $2 billion in lost market value triggered the major shareholders and will result in more changes. The CEO is probably done, getting 186 likes. It'll be interesting to see if the CEO is actually ousted, because again, Bud Light lost billions in stock valuation, yet their CEO, former CIA operative Brendan Whitworth, still stayed at the realm of the company. Let's see. You have the tuba? What is it? Yeah, I think it's the tuba. The tuba meme of the kids at school, and it's the person holding the tuba, the pride flag, and the tuba is named Tractor Supply. And you have the person with the tuba's bell. Yeah, we call the end of it. I should know. I played trumpet for a while growing up. And as customers who just want to buy tractor parts, getting 194 likes. I wonder if they have Porsche parts. They're kind of cool. I doubt it. I don't know where you get your vintage Porsche tractor parts, but that'd be kind of funny to go to the counter and ask. Be a good viral video. Someone should do that. Let's see if there's any contrarian statements. Because again, I'm sure this will really anger some people. Some people, especially San Francisco, they might boycott the company because of this. So that's another issue. By going back, again, a percentage of their sales, I'm sure they're in the minority. Over the long-term history, will that increase? That's really another question for another time, perhaps. But not seeing a lot of contrarian statements, and I'm scrolling pretty good. A lot of people just giving Robbie Starbuck accolades. A lot of people saying they agree with the company, going back to the roots. So again, I think it's going to be great for the company, especially because, again, your core audience did not agree with what you're doing. So, and then for them to actually acknowledge it, that's another very rare thing you see in corporate America. So let me know, are you surprised that Tractor Supply is going back, or, as some might say in terms of the metaphors, having the pendulum swing back to the other side? Let me know in the comments, because as always, I'd be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the political part of the podcast, you have Biden tweeting that he will restore Roe vs. Wade, which, is this his most viral post in 2024? It might be, or more accurately, the most viral post of Karen Jean-Pierre, the terrible White House press secretary who lies for a living. Karen Jean-Pierre? Close enough. But she's been caught several times tweeting for Biden, and yeah, during the debate, Biden was somehow tweeting. Yeah, spoiler alert, he doesn't really run his account. But nevertheless, this is from, allegedly, Biden, and he simply says, quote, "If I'm reelected, I'm going to restore Roe vs. Wade." This got 32.7 million views and 79,000 likes. This is one of the most viral things he's put the whole calendar year out in terms of social media. And again, I think this will be one of the hot topics, believe it or not, when it comes to the 2024 election. Because again, even with record inflation, basically an open border, rampant crime, terrible economy. Even with all that, there are some people who just have a singular voting pattern, especially the stay-at-home moms or the stay-at-home, well, the liberal white women, statistically speaking. That's one of the most successful areas where Joe Biden historically has one political favorite, and they vote for him no matter what, especially with this topic. Again, there are a lot of people who have singular political issues. One of my biggest things is the Second Amendment, which in this case, obviously I'm going to vote for. But there are a lot of people who have that single topic, they're a single topic voter. So, I mean, this could be a great political move on the chessboard for Biden. Now, the issue for him is, again, some people aren't stupid. They might realize, well, wait a minute. If Biden really meant this, why didn't he do it 3 years ago when he got elected? Well, wait a minute. Why isn't the Supreme Court said it has to be relegated back to the states? How is he going to override them? Granted, he has openly gone against and broken the law, in front of the Supreme Court, just saying he's going to do it no matter what. But, student loans and shutting down landlords from operating during the pandemic. But what is he realistically going to do in terms of political action? Is he saying he's going to work with, the House? Is he going to work with all Congress to get something passed? I don't think that's going to happen. But nevertheless, a lot of people will vote just because of the emotional rhetoric and just his topic alone. But let's go to the comments. Maybe they're all saying, great job, Dark Joe, which is a weird nickname that everyone that likes him does use. Probably not. Let's dive in. Planet of Memes, damn it, they are back to they're 1 for 2 today. Not as bad as the prior day. They were 0 for 3 on Monday. In terms of replying to meme form, because their name is Planet of Memes. So might have to start calling them these alleged Planet of Memes, because they just use words this time. This alleged Planet of Memes says Roe was a clump of words, getting 312 likes. Paul Zupa said Roe vs. Wade was ruled unconstitutional, getting 845 likes. Art Candy, who, again, she also has popcorn and water with a straw in her emoji, as those emojis in her name. Her name is also spelled Candee. Not spelled properly, obviously. And unless that's sugar water, there's no sugar in it. Bad advertising. So, a really silly name. Candy. Those are just ridiculous as a name like topping. Oh, wait. I partially digress. But she's a leftist that I follow because, again, more opinions the better. Life will get a little bit boring if you're in an echo chamber. She simply says, let's go. So she did not spell go properly. I partially jest. I know she's trying to be bombastic. She also used, what is that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8 exclamation points? She's really excited to kill kids. Or babies, or whatever vernacular you prefer. It's one of those things where if you look at how many Americans support abortion, especially late-term abortion, very few. That's where I almost suspect politicians use this as a political wedge just to gain, funds for campaigning, left and right. But yeah, especially late-term abortions, very few Americans believe in. Short-term, that's where there's a little bit more. But again, this has already been fought in court. It's back to the states, which, as a founding fathers, I think that would, if it's not, it's one of those things where that's how it should be from a constitutional perspective. That's kind of my opinion. Now, you have Lizard saying Joe Biden's Twitter is just like America. He isn't the one running it. That got 22,000 likes, almost ratioing the president. Wow. Yeah. I don't know how many people really think Biden's in charge these days. You also have Dan saying, please go back to the debate, Joe, getting 19,000 likes, which, yep, this tweet actually did come up a couple days ago. It was sent during the debate. Which, again, anyone with a modicum of intelligence in terms of political campaigning or a team, they'd probably say, hey, let's have this be tweeted from the White House, because the White House has a specific Twitter profile. Or just the Biden campaign staff. They have another one. Kamala Harris, she has a Twitter. I don't know what she does for a living. She's in charge of securing the southern border. That was one of her jobs that Joe Biden gave her. Yeah, great job, Kamala. So she has a creepy laugh, so she does something, I guess. Evan Kilgore says, you already are the president. Why can't you do it now? They got 50,000 likes. Ratioed the president right there. Red Wave Press says, you won't be reelected, so I'm not worried, getting 1.8 thousand likes. Jeremy says, stop tweeting, get to the debate, dude, getting 9.4 thousand likes. Patrick Webb said, not looking good, Joe, getting 1.3 thousand likes. Dr. Patrick Patel says, President Biden, please get back to the debate, getting 2.9 thousand likes. Joe Schomburg says, why are you, quote unquote, posting this during you're losing the debate, getting 2.5 thousand likes? Let's see here. I don't see any good statements here, statements that are supporting him, besides Miss Candy. Can't but wonder she's just paid by Biden. The flag guy says, aren't you on the debate stage trying to stay alive, getting 2.4 thousand likes? Taliban says, don't do drugs, kids. There's a picture of Joe from the debate with wide eyes looking lost. I got 2,000 likes. Let's see. Vinny Sorrento says, Dear intern, there's no way you can tweet yourself out of the debate. This is an embarrassment to the country. Getting 1,000 likes. Mally Mouse says, Hey, Karen G. Pear. I got there eventually. That is her name. She said, she actually tagged this person. We know you're the one tweeting for Joe. P.S. It's hard to believe the lie when he is out live TV having a debate and somehow he's also tweeting. Cloud emoji twice. Got 633 likes. Senator Babette says, I thought you were on the stage debating Trump, getting 550 likes. Let's see. Juan Manuel Gongaro says, quote unquote, Catholic president, getting 238 likes, which, yeah, Joe Biden pretends to be Catholic. There's no such thing as a Catholic who believes in abortion. It's like, there are many rules in the Bible, but that's one of the big ones. That's kind of a non-negotiable. So anyone who's really a Catholic, they don't believe that. So again, I don't really think it's, in terms of political discourse and debates, I don't think it's beneficial to bring up religion because usually the person you're talking to, they don't believe in religion or maybe they have a different one. But yeah, when Joe Biden tries to pretend to go to church, yeah, there's a reason a lot of them will not give him communion, which, not to go down the rabbit hole of religion, but the reason they will not do that is because he believes in abortion. Scrolling down more and more. Let's see, there's any contrarian statements. Evil Texan. Ooh, they do have a cowboy hat, so at least they get some good marketing points there. Says, dude, you're asleep at this debate stage right now. Getting 680 likes. Let's see. Any contrarian statements? Really? Was it really just have one gal? Again, I still think this is a top issue for those ladies. Which, again, is kind of silly because a lot of those ladies who really believe in abortion, they already live in states that are very much like it. I mean, California, Minnesota, you can get abortion up to 9 months to the very day. There's no restrictions basically in Minnesota. Then you have other states like Texas, California, Texas, and Oklahoma. They restrict it more. But some of them make it illegal. But they obviously have the exception for the outliers, such as abortion and incest, with incest as well as for rape as well as medical for the mother. So there are some caveats in other areas. So it's become a state's issue, which again is what the founding fathers believed in, and that's why again the federal government, they already got out of this. And I mean, Trump during the debate said it is a state's issue. It's been relegated to the states, and the Supreme Court has ruled on it. So it just makes me think if someone with a modicum of intelligence, I don't think well, again, that might be overestimating a lot of people, left and right. Don't get me wrong, but if they just think about it for a New York minute, just for a second, I think they'll realize, well, that shouldn't really be a topic for this election because it's no longer a federal issue. Granted, a lot of people do vote just on emotional rhetoric alone, so maybe this will work. And it's one of the few things I think they'll try to run on. I mean, they certainly can't run on the economy. They certainly can't run on the border. Certainly can't run on inflation. There are very few bullet points that they have at their disposal. But, yeah. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are in terms of, do you think this will be a big thing that they try to push in terms of political campaigns, marketing initiatives? Do you think maybe they'll backtrack it, or will this be one of the few things they get traction with? Let me know in the comments. As always, I'd be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting political news, you have the Supreme Court striking down the Chevron Doctrine and Vivek's take on one of the most important things to happen in the past few years, believe it or not. Again, the Chevron Doctrine was the reason that you have so many bloated government agencies that just basically make their own rules and make our lives so miserable. And of course, this comes to us thanks to Vivek on X Twitter. Now he says, quote, the Supreme Court just struck down the Chevron Doctrine, which has been poisoning our country in the recent decades. This is a seismic ruling. The people we elect to make laws aren't the ones who actually make them. The laws today. It's unelected bureaucrats and the administration state. That's because an older, awful ruling said the U.S. court could have to defer to administrative agencies' interpretations of the law. As of today, this is no longer the case, and America is better off for it. Got 759,000 views and 17,000 likes. Again, this will curtail a lot of those bloated agencies and a lot of the BS that they've been pushing on us, from the EPA to the ATF. The labor, a lot of stuff that makes your life sell. Now, scrolling down, one of the top comments comes from Gunther Eagleman saying, quote, "Today is a great day for America," getting 709 likes. Scrolling down more and more. You have Torsten Pernchow saying, "This is huge. The Supreme Court overturned a 4-decade-old legal precedent known as Chevron Deference that gave government agencies wide latitude in crafting regulations, aka bureaucrats making up laws and you not being able to vote for someone who could change it." Got 215 likes. JD Bren says, "Seems the Supreme Court is just throwing darts these days, but occasionally they hit the mark. This is truly a fantastic decision. Can this ruling be interpreted to include the CIA and NSA along the unelected bureaucrats in the administrative state?" Getting 186 likes for that. Cool Hand Longhorn 1776 says, quote, "The deep state and administrative state is crumbling before our eyes. Brilliant to see," getting 173 likes. D. Simon says, "Just think of how many federal jobs can be eliminated now," getting 220 likes. It's a good summary of it, so I'll read it. Dr. Mike says, "The Supreme Court decision to strike down the Chevron Doctrine is indeed a significant ruling. This doctrine, established in 1984, required courts to defer to administrative agencies' interpretations of ambiguous laws. Critics have argued that it gave too much power to unelected bureaucrats, allowing them to effectively make laws. By overturning this precedent, the Supreme Court is shifting the balance of power back to the elected branches of government, ensuring that those who create laws are accountable to the voters. This marks a substantial change in the administrative law and the governance of the United States," unquote. That got 124. Let's make it 125 likes. Gotta be some contrarian statements in here for folks that love big government, maybe. Ludwig Never Misses says, "This is a huge win for setting up the takedown of the administrative state and demonstrates why the Supreme Court justices are so important." I got 359 likes, which, I mean, a lot of people just thank God Ruth Bader Ginsburg was such a narcissistic woman who would never give up her power, and she just had the job and held onto it with her, some might argue, she held onto it with her, like a Grim Reaper death grip for years. Despite mental decline, just her narcissism was that strong. Because again, if she retired under Barack Obama's presidency, which many people said and recommended, then she would not have passed away under the Trump presidency, where he was able to actually nominate some people who believe in things like the Constitution, a rare thing in the United States these days. Yeah, she wasn't that hell-bent on keeping power for that long and be so power-hungry. But she was, and now, for the first time in my whole life, you actually have a Supreme Court with people who believe in the Constitution being a majority. Unfortunately, you also have someone who does not know the definition of a woman, who Biden picked just because she was a black woman. He said that was who he was choosing for the job, not the best person for the job, but yeah. But yeah, you do have Ketanji Brown, who she cannot define a woman. She was asked before she was, when she was being nominated, the Republicans asked her questions, and when they asked her if she could define what a woman is, she said she's not a biologist. So don't get me wrong, there are still mentally vacuous people in the Supreme Court, of course, but thankfully for the first time in my life, there are more people who believe in the Constitution, which one would think everyone should, than not. Going down more and more, JD Sharp says, "This means bureaucrats can no longer be weaponized to shut down businesses," getting 278. They get 279 likes. Let's see here. Gabriel Gramax says, "Time for rule of law to return. No place to lawfare in America," getting 145 likes. Let's see. Any contrarian statements here? Because again, I'm sure this will piss off a lot of people, especially those bureaucrats who have those cush jobs for years to do nothing or make our lives worse. Let's see here. You got Kathy Sherman said, "And they just ruled that the charges brought against hundreds of the January 6th protesters is no good." Got 105 likes. Let's see. Ethan said, "The Middle East under Trump," and it's Trump sitting down with world leaders, all signing papers for a peace treaty. It says Middle East under Democrats. It's all like a war-torn country. Getting 104 likes. Let's see here. Going down more and more. Any contrarian statements? Oh, wait, is this one? Maybe? Nope. People saying this is a great way to trim the fat from the government. Be able to actually, vote for the people who are making our laws. Yeah, this is one of the most monumental shifts in our country's history. I mean, in the past 50 years, I'd say. It's that big of a deal. And it'll be interesting to see how fast this has impact directly on our lives and our businesses. Because again, this pendulum swing is huge. Or, as one man might say, huge. I mean, that might be the worst Trump impression you hear all year, granted. But hopefully, he at least smiled and made you laugh a little bit. Now going over to the business blunder of the day, you have 67 ice cream brands being recalled, though thankfully no illnesses yet. This is brought to us thanks to the New York Minute here. The clickondetroit.com, which interestingly enough, Detroit is still a city in America. I'm like partially kidding. At one point, it was the richest city on the planet when the big three automotive companies ruled the world in automotive sales. And yeah, their culture and politics and everything just destroyed it. So now, I mean, even when my parents were there, it was already a hellhole. So interestingly enough, they still have a news outlet and a website and people who live there. Pretty shocked. Now, in all seriousness, again, this comes to us thanks to clickondetroit.com, which I would recommend click, but do not visit. And they note that 67 ice cream products are being recalled due to possible listeria contamination, and even includes such things as Friendly's, Albin's Frozen Bakery, Chipwich. Let's see. Which again, how many of those are made by the same brand? Spoiler alert. So they say that, quote, a total of 67 different ice cream products are being recalled to a possibility of a listeria contamination. Totally Cool Inc., which that's A+ for marketing. You're an ice cream company and your name is Totally Cool Inc. I mean, they're cool in terms of, as the kids might say, but also, I mean, they make products that are technically cool. I don't know. I appreciate that. That's a good name. That's good marketing. Now, they say that Totally Cool Inc. of Owlings, Maryland issued a recall for multiple brands of ice cream. That, again, they could be contaminated with listeria, monoclonal genes, an organism that can cause serious and sometimes fatal infections in children or vulnerable adults. Short-term symptoms include fever, headache, stiffness, nausea, abdominal pain, diarrhea. They also say, big warning, pregnant women could experience miscarriages and stillbirths, which is even more heartbreaking. Now, the silver lining in this situation is they're ahead of the game, or they're ahead of it. No illnesses, again, have been reported. Now, they note that anyone who owns a recalled product should return it to the place of repurchase for a full refund, which I don't know what your time is worth, and I don't know how much of a pain it is to return ice cream. But nevertheless, you can reach out to them and call them at 410-363-7801. Again, if you want to call them, it's 410-376-7801. Or you could email them at a pretty long email address, but nevertheless, their email address is regulatory@totallycoolicecream.com. Long email domain, yes, but it's regulatory@totallycoolicecream.com. They say you can reach out to them Monday through Friday with any questions. And yeah, that's not good. And unfortunately, it'd be a little inconvenient to see all the brand names, but unfortunately, they do not give us the complete list in this article. But yeah, or they, even more disappointing, they don't tell you the list of the store. Oh, I spoke too soon. You gotta go scroll to the very bottom. So we're gonna go ahead and read a lot of them. So brace yourselves. The brands include Friendly's, Abelin's Frozen Bakery, Hershey's Ice Cream, Yellowa, Jenny's, Cumberland Farms, The Frozen Farmer. Oh, that's a lot of them. Chipwich, AMA Fruits, Takara, Delcina Gelato, LaSalle. Let's go down more and more. This list is terrible. Now it's giving me a bunch of pictures instead of a list of actual company names or brand names specifically for the flavors, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, definitely not good news to have a recall, especially one that could be so literally deadly and catastrophical. But again, thankfully they were able to get ahead of the situation, and hopefully everyone who purchased the product tunes into social media, or some people in the comments are saying they got like an email from their local grocery store. In that case, it's like Kroger. So hopefully everyone is made well aware of the situation before they consume the product. But again, I mean, especially one of the downsides of manufacturing food and beverages is that you have to have a high bar of quality control. And then again, because it can have such a potentially negative impact on a person's life, you better be double sure that the safety is taken into account. So again, the triple downside is when you're a mass manufacturer and do a lot of OEM projects, or you make food for other people, they set up a label on it. Well, then when that one manufacturer gets hit, you have, in this case, 67 different ice cream products being recalled. The recall is that much larger. So unfortunately, gotta say that ice cream recall, that is certainly the business blunder of the day. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in. Again, trying to get 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you could click that button, I would greatly appreciate it. Also, leaving a thumbs up, thumbs down, or a comment is a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.